Welcome to Ready, Set, Renovate. We're doing a 10-part series on condo living. Remodeling a condo is different than remodeling a house, and we're bringing on guests all across the upstate of South Carolina to tell us about it. Whether you've been in a condo for 20 plus years or you're looking to purchase one, we invite you to join us as we answer your questions. Let's get to it. On this episode, we're talking with Nate Collins. Nate is a master electrician with Trusted Tradesmen Co. Nate has experience with wiring many different settings, including condos, which is what we're going to talk to him about on this episode. So let's get to it. Well, Nate, thanks for being on Ready, Set, Renovate to talk about condos. Specifically, we're talking about the electricity within condos. You being an electrician, give us a little bit about your background as an electrician and some of your experiences. And
yeah, absolutely. So I've been in construction for the past 17 years, and I've been focusing and specializing in electrical for the past 13. Actually started when I was 13 years old in a habitat house roofing it, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever. Yeah, so that really got me the bug, and then I went to Tri-County Technical College and started specializing more in trades and took an electrical class, and I was like, this is what we get to do every day for a living. Like, this is great. How do I get in? And so that really got the bug, early 20s, and just focused on it for the rest of that time. So
you've spent some time doing commercial work as well as residential. Yep. Where does a condo fall on that spectrum? Would you consider that more commercial, more residential?
Yes, absolutely. So when you walk into a condo, it always looks just like a house, and you think, oh, okay, so this is this. It's not. It's not even close. So it's actually very much so commercial. All of the studs are metal. Like this is a high rise. So that, and then electrical relating to that is you're running MC cable, which is like a metal clad type cable. You're running conduit, and so there's a lot of things that come into play. So for instance, all of the ceilings when you first walk into a condo starting to wire it are going to be extremely high, like 16 to 20 feet. And the reason for that is because there is a large amount of dead space in between the units due to the fact that all of the plumbing, all of the large water lines for the sprinkler system are all in between the units, and so it just, you have to be very aware of what you're doing and how the building is kind of constructed, because it's nothing like a house.
Yeah. The systems, how do they differ between the two, between residential and a condo unit? I mean, obviously, you mentioned some about the wiring, but there has to be a lot more electricity running through that building than there does like a home.
Yes, absolutely. So due to the fact that some condos can be anywhere from 5 to 15 stories, the further that you run an electrical line, the more voltage drop can come into play. And so sometimes there'll actually be 77,000 volt power lines starting at the base of the structure and going inside chases, and then going to a traditional transformer inside a mechanical closet. So like the big transformers, the big round things that you see on the poles that are in front of people's houses, they have like interior type designs of those transformers under roof, in the mechanical closet in one of the areas, not inside the units, but in a closet specifically and room designed for that, where they're stepping from 77,000 volts to the traditional 240 volts that powers a home.
Wow.
So,
So a lot of power.
There's a lot of power, Yeah, and it's largely due to the distance, because you can only go so far with power before you have to change voltages, and so, very different.
Before we started, we were talking a little bit about energy efficiency in a condo, and you were like, I'm not sure I want to bring this up because it's not necessarily great news for the condo owner. Yeah. There is a trade-off to having the beautiful views of looking out your window. Yeah. Speak a little bit about that, how it impacts the energy efficiency.
Yeah, so all of the exterior walls in the unit are glass, floor to ceiling. That gives you that huge, great view. If you actually walk to the edge of the unit when it's finished even and look down, you're going to get a little queasy, because it's literally going to feel like you're on top of a mountain and that you could fall. Obviously not completely safe. No, but it's just so surreal. You almost can't tell that there's glass there. But because of that, there is a large amount of heat loss that happens because there's not that, insulating factor of a home where there's just a big wall that has actual, and there's overhang that creates shade. There's no shade.
Yeah.
A high-rise condo is straight up, and so that sun is hitting you. Now, ways to combat that are having very heavy drapes, things like that to help condition it. But definitely, your air conditioning bill is going to be a little bit higher in a condo than a home.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have an office in Anderson, and the front of it is just completely glass. And if you sit in that front room, it turns into a sauna relatively quickly because of what you just explained there. When it comes to maintenance and checking the condition of your condo electrical system, how would you recommend a condo owner going about that, just to ensure that they're in a good place?
The main thing to look out for is, strobing lights, flickering lights. As I said, there's a lot more complicated electrical type system. And also a lot of condos are second homes, in which case, if you're noticing something and you're a resident that's full-time, you really need to bring it up to your maintenance department and let them know something's going on. So like if all of the lights in the entire condo were flickering at the same rate and the same type of thing, that's a sign that there's possibly a problem with the transformer that's powering another unit, most likely. It's a sign of a loose connection. So just being aware of that is pretty important because it's kind of one of those signs. Any buzzing or noises coming from your electrical panel, that's a good call to make a call to your electrician.
If you want to do something simple, changing out a fixture or something in a condo, there's no significant difference than doing something like that in a house, right?
So there actually is a massive difference.
Oh, wow.
So here's the difference. Falls Tower is one we've worked in before, and so here's the scenario. You drive up in your work van, and you have to go around the back and go down a one-way alley, pretty much, and if there's a delivery going on that day or something like that, you're sitting in your van and you're waiting. So you have to have extra attention to detail with communication with your homeowner and say, hey, instead of we're going to be there between 1 and 2, we'll be there between 1 and 4.
You could be sitting out waiting for the traffic to disperse.
Once you get into the dock, you have to completely visualize and think about everything, not just that you need, but that you might need for whatever it is that they need. So you're taking all of your tools out, and by the way, bring a trolley. You're putting all of your equipment and your ladders and your tools and your wire nuts and your screws and extensions for your boxes in case the box isn't perfectly flush, because there's that distance I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. Sometimes things don't get set perfectly when the unit is wired, and so you've got to combat that. Loading everything in the tool, and then you press the button on the service elevator, and guess what? There's new units being built, there's this, that, and the other, and so you're waiting. There's cleaning crews for quite some time, and that elevator is not as fast as a resident elevator as well. Oh, yeah. So then you're getting all of your equipment, you're trying to make sure you can fit it in there, you're going up to the unit, you're making sure you're not bumping any walls or anything like that on the way. And then
running into any of the residents.
Yes.
I mean, you got to remember there are many other residents around, and you make a bad impression on those.
That's right.
They're probably going to go to the client that you're working for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they do a good job of separating. Like there's an elevator just for service, and there's an elevator just it's completely separate for the residents. But sure, when you're walking from that elevator to where you're going, it's an event really. And if you forget something. Yeah. You have to go back into the elevator and down, and then your van's not in the loading dock because you can only stay there for 10 to 20 minutes, roughly. You've got to move because there's someone else coming in. So then you're walking to your vehicle in the middle of the park, potentially.
There are definitely different hurdles and challenges,
yes, sir,
for sure. And that just gives some good perspective so that a condo owner knows when they call up an electrician and have different fixtures put into their condo, it's a little bit different. Tell us a little bit about things to come. Hey, technology is ever changing, and there's new things every day. What are you seeing in your field on the electrical front that will probably make an impact on condo owners in the future?
Absolutely. So what's become very popular with condo owners recently is smart homes. So Latron is a company that has specialized in lighting for years and years. I would say it's the absolute leader in just lighting and dimming and controls. And so they have smart technology that has become very popular in condos, where there's actually a keypad on the wall, and on this keypad there's 8 buttons. And each button is labeled living room lights, kitchen lights, whatever you want. And this is completely customizable. So if you want one button to control 6 different lights throughout the condo, you can have it set that way, programmed. You press that button, it turns all those on.
An electrician would set that up?
Yes. So we would do all the infrastructure, and we partner with low voltage companies local in the area to come and do the programming. So we're great at running the wires in the conduit and getting there, but they really specialize and have to be programmers because it's very technologically advanced. But the end result is very appealing because instead of having a wall with 8 switches, you have a wall with 1 keypad that has 8 buttons. And you can also program your blinds to be controlled from the same keypad as well as lighting. Yeah. So if you want to open all the blinds in the entire condo at once, which sometimes can be as many as 15, sure. Even in different rooms, you press that button, all of them raise at the same rate. Or you press another program button and they come halfway down. Or you can set a schedule where it automatically adjusts with the rising and setting of the sun. So there's just
so it can sense the natural light and adjust accordingly.
Yes.
How cool is that? Nate Collins, Trusted Tradesman, I really appreciate you coming on and telling us a little bit about the condo and how the electrical applies to condos. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
You got it.
Do you own a condo or are interested in remodeling a condo? We at Daniel Builders can help you. Reach out to us at danielbuilders.com. We'd love the opportunity to talk. So if you'd like to be the next guest on our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us at info@danielbuilders.com.